I'm Jenna Zaffino, inventor of the Duet Roller Accessory Kit. In your kit, you get a strap as well as a versatile headrest that can help you configure the rollers you already have into multiple different positions that offer optimal stability, optimal feedback, and a great way to change up the exercises that you're already teaching in your studio. Today we're going to work on a class that promotes balance through the back of the pelvis. This can help with low back pain, accessing the lower abdominals, and also differentiating between the right and left sides of your body. So let's get started. We're going to start in a supine position, hips at the edge, and just gently lower yourself down onto both rollers. Once you're down, be sure to make sure the rollers feel balanced as much as possible, and a good rule of thumb is to have them placed between your shoulder blade and your spine. And just nestle yourself right on in there. Your feet are hip width distance apart, and we'll begin with a simple posterior pelvic tilt. So as you take your breath in, feel length along the rollers, and when you exhale, roll back slowly. And your goal here is to create weight that's equal through both sides of the pelvis. If you could press your waistline into the rollers themselves, that's where you would be aiming for. Then we're just going to simply unroll the pelvis, and we'll do that a few times. Inhaling for length, exhaling to roll the hips back, and think about dropping the belly down into the empty space between the two rollers. I like to think of filling up the crevice from the belly to the back to the space right between, just mobilizing. Now right here you might notice already that one side feels heavier than the other, so you can do your best to try to balance this out. But for the next one, let's stay backwards in the tilt and now just explore what it's like to use one hip along one roller. So from here we'll take the right hip down, pressing heavily into the right roller, and the left hip will stay elevated off. And then we'll return along the right hip to come back to your waistline and see if you can find the balance between both sides of your back. And then we'll do the same with the left hip, inhaling as you go down and exhaling to come back to your waistline, deepening the belly, curling the pelvis back. Let's do this again, inhaling along the right side and exhaling to come back, and inhaling along the left side and exhaling to come back. And notice how your legs will start to begin to move almost in a piston action, which is a great way to warm up the hip joints as well as the lower back and the pelvis. And roll back. Let's roll back down to a neutral pelvis, and from here we're going to press the hips down to feel heavy against the rollers, and if you're ready, float your legs up to tabletop for another challenge. Now our goal here is to keep the legs at that 90-degree angle at the knees and the hips, and we're going to attempt to do the same two actions with the pelvis only, without moving the legs. So we'll take a breath in, and as we exhale, pull the low belly back. Now it might be a little smaller this time, but it will definitely be a little deeper. Inhale, release. And exhale again, using the feedback of the rollers to connect the belly through the back against the roller. Inhale, release. And exhale and roll back. Little quiver is never a bad thing. Inhale, release. And exhale, roll all the way back. From here, can you roll down along the right side of the pelvis only, potentially letting the left leg get a little higher than the right? Roll back to the low waistline and roll down along the left side. And you can definitely use your arms for stability here. Rolling back, again, a subtle exercise, but one that's going to tell you exactly where your low belly is. And roll back one more time along the left. And find that scoop and roll all the way down. Lower the feet back to your hip width distance. So that was a nice challenge, and now we're going to take it up one more notch to start to move it a bit more. Bring your legs side by side, and we'll start with some toe touches from the ground up. So take your breath in. As you exhale, lift your right leg up to tabletop. Inhale, lower. And as you exhale, lift your left leg up. We're simply feeling how the hips translate from side to side and attempting to keep the hips still on the roller and the rollers still underneath the hips. Once we've got this variation down, we're going to, again, make it a little more challenging by switching between. So we're going to just switch legs to touch the toes and switch. And right now you can start to feel the back of your rib cage getting heavier against the rollers or lighter. But the goal is to keep your connection along the spine. Both long lines of those rollers are helping you to use your body weight to find stability. So drop the weight of your ribs, drop the weight of your pelvis, and challenge yourself to stay connected as you move your legs. Last one. Let's bring both legs up. We're going to flex the feet and try one more big challenge. From here, extend your right leg long. You can even feel that your hamstring almost hooks down over the edge of the two rollers as your left leg comes in. Now, it's really common to try to shift the hips in order to switch legs. Let's keep the hips really stable. Exhale and switch. This is just like your single leg stretch, but we're working on the connection through the back line of the body so that we can really be using our weight to leverage the heaviness of the body so that the legs feel nice and light. We'll do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, and bring both knees in, and now you can give yourself a nice hug, rolling back, little massage if you need it, and lower the feet all the way down. Take your hands behind your hamstrings and work your way up to the top. And that is our stability and balance between the hips class. Thanks for joining me on this Balanced Body podcast, and be sure to check out the other Duet podcast as well.